Hi everyone, and thanks for joining today's webinar. I'm Marty Harsey with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and I'll be guiding you through the process of completing and submitting your grant application using the FDEP grant portal. I'll also be your main contact for any questions or technical support along the way. The process can feel a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to make it as simple as possible. In this video, we'll go step by step through the application with tips along the way. Feel free to follow along and take notes. Let's get started. CAT has brought us to the home page. Select the SMWWCO tab on the navigation bar and then select Create Edit Application to open the application form. This first section is applicant information. Start by typing your business name, which pulls from the account used during your access request. Then click your business name to select it. If no results appear, check your spelling. You must choose from the list. Manual entry isn't allowed. The next field is contact name. This should be the same person listed on your business license and the main contact used when the account was created. It's also a drop-down pick list. Start typing the name and it should appear for selection based on what's already in the system. If the name doesn't show up, double check for typos. Manual entry isn't allowed, so you must select from the list provided. If the correct contact isn't shown, you may need to update your account information before proceeding. After selecting the contact name, you'll be asked, is the facility owned or operated by a self-insured governmental entity such as state, county, or city? This is a simple yes or no question. Just select the option that applies to your organization. Next, you'll be required to enter the section, township, and range for your project location. You can find this on property records, surveys, or your county's property appraiser's website. If unsure, a quick Google search with your address and section, township, range, or contacting your local planning office can help. The next section to complete is the project information. Start by selecting your project type from a drop-down menu with three options: Fixed Capital Outlay Project, Operating Capital Outlay Project, and Combination Fixed and Operating Capital Outlay Project. Choose the option that best fits your project. If you're unsure, don't hesitate to reach out to me after the webinar for further assistance. The next required field is the project description. This is a text-free box where you'll enter a clear and concise summary of your proposed project. Be sure to include current or planned site activities, how the project supports the protection and continuation of a working waterfront, key site features such as land characteristics, vegetation, wildlife, historic or archaeological elements, and site access. Also describe the proposed work, whether it's infrastructure improvements for fixed capital outlay or equipment purchases for operating capital outlay, and explain how it will benefit waterfront operations. Next, you'll describe how your project will benefit the local economy. This is another open text field where you should highlight any expected economic impacts, such as job creation, increased tourism, support for local businesses, or a boost in community spending. You don't need to be overly technical, but your response should clearly explain how the project will contribute to the economic well-being of your community. Next is asking for the local water body. Enter the name of the body of water closest to your project site, such as a river, lake, bay, creek, or other nearby water feature. Even if your project isn't directly water related, this information is needed for geographic reference. The next field is asking for the distance to navigational channel, an estimate of how far your site is from the nearest waterway used for vessel traffic like boats or barges. Use a numeric value only in this field. Then select the distant unit from the drop-down menu, miles or kilometers, matching the unit used in the previous field to ensure accuracy. The final step in this section is to check the self-certification box on the left side of the screen. By checking this box, you are confirming the following statement: I certify that there are no business violations associated with the business license or associated venues. This is a required field. The application cannot be submitted without it. Once you've completed this section and checked the certification box, click Save at the bottom of the screen to move on to the next part of the application. Now that you've saved your application, you'll scroll down to the next section, which is for your facility licenses, where you'll enter any licenses related to your business or project. Start by selecting your license type from the drop-down list of accepted options. Next, enter the license number that matches the selected license type. If you have multiple licenses to report, update the fields below and click Create New License for each one. Each entry will appear in the table above and must be submitted as part of the required documentation for Exhibit A licensing and certifications. If your license type isn't listed, choose Other License Type and complete the required fields that appear. To correct an existing license, you'll need to delete it and re-enter the updated information. Just click the arrow icon next to the license in the table, select Delete, then enter the corrected details below, and click Create New License again. The next section is Uploads, where you'll attach the required supporting documents for your application. Each document must be clearly labeled according to the exhibit names referenced in your application using the naming format exhibit_letter, for example, exhibit_B. The required exhibits will be varied based on your project type, fixed capital outlay, operating capital outlay, or a combination of both. Please be sure to upload all necessary files and label each one accurately to match the exhibit list. Proper labeling is essential to ensure your application is complete and to avoid any delays during the review process. Please note that any application missing required exhibits will be considered incomplete and may be deemed ineligible for funding. For more details on required exhibits, please refer to the application guidance. We'll also cover these exhibits in more detail later in the webinar. This next section will require you to label and define the task associated with your proposed project. At least one task is required to submit your application. Start by entering the task number into the text field. Next, select a task title from the drop-down. Options include equipment purchase, equipment installation, maintenance and repair, permits, site preparation, and renovation. Then choose who will perform the work under Work Performed By. Grantee only, contractor only, or grantee and contractor. Once all three fields are complete, click Create New Project Task. The task will appear in the table above. To add more tasks, simply update the fields below and click Create New Project Task. Again, each task will be listed as you go. If you need to edit a task, you'll need to delete the existing entry. Click the arrow next to the task in the table, select Delete, then re-enter and update details and click Create New Project Task again. Next is the Task Budget Category section, where you'll assign budget amounts to each task entered earlier. From the drop-down labeled, choose the application task number, select the task this budget applies to that was created in the previous section. Then select the expense budget category from the following options: contractual services, miscellaneous, other expenses, equipment, salaries, and supplies. Enter the budget amount and then click Create New Application Task Budget to save. The entry will appear in the table above. Each task budget must be at least $5,000. If needed, you can combine multiple tasks under the same category to meet the minimum. For example, two smaller tasks under equipment can be grouped into a single equipment entry totaling $5,000 or more. Repeat these steps for each task and budget category until your entire budget is entered. The next session requires task personnel grantee is only required if the grantee is performing work directly, especially if you selected salaries under the task budget category. If a contractor is handling all the work, no salaries are involved, you can skip this section. If this section does apply, select the application task number to link the personnel entry to a specific task. Complete the following fields: position title, title of the person performing the work, maximum hours, total expected hours, time unit, choose weekly, monthly, or yearly from the drop-down. Hourly rate, enter the hourly wage. Fringe percent, enter the fringe benefit rate. Once all fields are completed, click Create New Task Personnel Grantee Entry. The entry will appear in the table above. The final section is your submittal and certification statement. Please take the time to review these statements. Provide your authorized signer's name in the text box and select the certification agreement box. Once you've completed all required sections and fields, carefully reviewed your entries, and uploaded all necessary exhibits with the correct labels, your application will be ready for submission. Thoroughly completing each part helps ensure a smooth review process and improves your chances of securing funding, so take the time to double-check everything before submitting. Please note, the system will block submission if any required fields are incomplete. If this occurs, a red message will appear at the bottom of your screen highlighting what needs attention. Also, the upload section does not automatically track which exhibits or how many exhibits have been submitted. It is essential that you personally verify all required exhibits are attached and clearly labeled to avoid delays or your application being marked incomplete during the review. That wraps up our application walkthrough. I hope this gives you a clearer understanding of how to navigate the system and complete each step with confidence. If you encounter any issues you're unable to resolve, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm here to assist you throughout the process and provide guidance to help you navigate any challenges along the way. Thanks again, and we look forward to receiving your applications.